Eggs on cocotte is a wonderful way to bake your eggs in the oven. Eggs on cocotte really means baking your eggs in ramekins just like this. It's a really traditional French way of doing it, but I'm going to embellish my eggs today with a little bit of miso cream. So let's get our mushrooms on first. I've got 3 varieties of mushrooms here. Some button mushrooms, which I'm just going to slice. You can use shiitake for this by all means. Also, I've got these pine mushrooms. Now, these are in season, so I couldn't help myself. I had to use them today. These have a little bit more of a firmer texture. And have a look at these mushrooms. These are called slippery jack mushrooms. You can see that they look a little bit slimy on the outside, but they look like a sponge in the centre there. These are to die for too. It's always going to taste a little bit more exciting when you've got a few varieties. So into a clean pan here, some oil. That's really hot because I just want to flash fry these mushies. So they can go in. And we're going to be baking these eggs in the oven, so these mushrooms are going to cook twice, so don't overcook them at this stage. I'm also not going to season these mushrooms with any salt yet because that'll draw out some of the liquid. When we start to get some colour, that's when I'll season it. Now, speaking of seasoning, we've got some miso paste. Now, this is a really mild miso paste. I'm also going to be using some soy sauce. Let's have a look at these mushies. Yep, perfect. I'll season it now with a touch of salt and we'll take our mushies out. And in the same pan, while it's still really hot, I'm just going to wilt a little bit of spinach. So again, that hot pan, a little bit of oil, not too much oil. And we just want that just to heat through and start to break down like it is here. And in actual fact, that's going to come out of the pan now because it's really hot and it will continue cooking on top of those mushies. So our garnish is done. So now onto the sauce. We want to bring this cream to the boil just to thicken up, and we can season this with 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And it sounds a little bit strange to put soy and cream together, but trust me, it works. This is such a fantastic dish. Give it a swirl, and we can add our miso paste. I'll start with 1 tablespoon, and we'll whisk in that miso paste until it just dissolves. You can see that's happening now, and you can also see that that cream is thickening up. Just delicious. Now let's assemble. So you can see this is super easy to do. We're going to get another spoon over here, and we're going to gather a little bit of the spinach. We'll place that in our ramekins. I'm not going to grease these because I'm going to serve them in the ramekins here. And there is also a little bit of oil already in the spinach and the mushrooms. We'll get our wonderful medley of mushrooms here. And again, we'll add a spoonful of them to each ramekin. I'm making 4 today. What I'm trying to do here is just make a little space there for the eggs to sit because we're going to crack them in now. And this is a celebration of eggs, so make sure you use really good, fresh, free-range eggs. And it's as simple as cracking the egg very gently and breaking it straight into the cocotte, or ramekin as we call it here. We'll do another few, breaking that in. Beautiful dark yolk there. And the trick is not to overcook this because you want to serve it with a little bit of bread and you want that yolk to be really runny. So I've preheated my oven to 180. So that's nice and warm in there. It's going to make sure it seals that egg white and keeps that yolk runny. And now onto the cream. We'll get that spoon and we want a few tablespoons of that cream into the ramekins. Yum, this cream smells so good. And we'll just fill this one up here. And don't forget, I've still got a few more of those mushies. And we're going to bake these eggs in a bain-marie. Now, this just ensures that the eggs cook really slowly and gently so they don't overcook. So just place them in a tray, just like this one. Fill it up halfway with some warm water. Perfect. And now they bake in the oven. I'd check them after 10 minutes, but they could take up to 15. So the eggs on Cocotte have come out of the oven. They're still very hot, so be careful when you take them out of the bain-marie. And I like to garnish it with a little bit of chives, just finely chopped. You could use some spring onions if you like, but I want really delicate flavours with the egg. And you can't have a gooey egg in the centre without some soldiers, some baguette soldiers, so crunchy baguette here. You could just use some toast if you like. Just gonna cut that centerpiece here into half. And then let's cut it into battens. And then we'll just place our little soldiers on the side there. And let's get into this. We'll see how gooey these eggs are. Oh, perfect, look at that. Yummy, scrumptious, perfect yolks. That is just delicious.